Hello and welcome to Dinis Guarda, Cities ABC Open Business Council YouTube podcast series. We are here once again to continue profiling the global leaders and thought leaders that are changing the world and creating new platforms and new systems for us to have a bit more of capacity to enlarge our visions, our dreams, and to create new experiences, new businesses, and new technologies that can make us better in our society, in our cities, in our countries. We've been profiling some of the top personalities in the world for business, politics, academia, and a lot of different areas, from entrepreneurs to scientists and a lot of people that are thinking outside of the box. And that's what we're going to be doing today, talking about one of the things that I'm more excited, that is about entrepreneurship and a new platform for NFTs and a creative studio called INFLUXO. So I welcome to our series Daniel Liu, that is the co-founder of NFT creative studio INFLUXO, that is, among other things, creating Ronaldinho NFT Collection. So Daniel has a particular exciting background. He's quite young still, but is the director of INFLUXO, a premier NFT non-fungible tokens creative studio and partner of INBlockchain, one of the most influential investment groups in the Asian crypto space. And they've been incubating blockchain projects like BigONE, RumSystem, MobileCoin, and Mixin. Before this part of his fast-growing career, Daniel has a mixed background working with the likes of Deutsche Bank and the other financial institutions and investment firms in Europe. And within these institutions, he's been responsible for asset management, compliance, and angel investment, which brought him to the financial industry, fintech, and blockchain space. Daniel studied in Frankfurt and Main and Stuttgart in Germany, and Wuhan in China, and holds an MA from Frankfurt School of Finance. And we're going to be talking particularly about INFLUXO for, just as a small introduction, is a premier NFT creative studio with its own integrated marketplace, backed by a team of the investors, including INBlockchain, an investment group dominating the Asian blockchain space, and looking at ways to creating decentralized technology and approaching this to different areas, from sports to business to DeFi and the crypto world. So welcome to our series, Daniel. Looking forward to have this talk with you.
Thank you, Dinis. It's a great pleasure to be here. It's also my honor too.
So Daniel, I want to start with so you have a quite interesting background. So from China to Germany, and then go back to Asia and all the different areas. So can you tell us a bit about your background, your education? How do you end up actually in Germany and now back to the Asian markets? A bit of your background on that.
Yeah, for sure, Dinis. So I was born in China, and then I took my bachelor's degrees in China. So in Wuhan now, it's very famous right now. So it's the origin of the pandemic. So and most of my academic careers are centered around law, economics, and also the culture studies. So and during my bachelor years, so I studied German studies and literature and languages is a minor major. So and then after graduation of my bachelor's, so I decided I should went to Germany. So then I moved back to Germany. I spent 5 or 6 years there, and first in Stuttgart and then in Frankfurt am Main. And then I ended up with, because in Germany I studied at a business school, so it's mainly centered around it's founded by the traditional German banks and financial institutions. And then I naturally ended up working there after my graduation, and first in Deutsche Börse and then in Deutsche Bank. So that's my traditional career. So first is the financial academic career, and then end up in the traditional career in the financial institutions in Europe. And then in around 2015 or 2014, so Bitcoin came up, and it sort of become huge enough. And also in our schools, we have talked about a lot of things about blockchains, how the fintech things, and how can they cooperate with the traditional financial career and something like that. So then I started to look at the new space. So I don't think that I should end up with a traditional banker for my entire life. So I think maybe I can do something more as a young people, then I can do something more. So I just look it back, and I went back to China, and then in Hong Kong, then I ended up in blockchain. So I am a partner of INBlockchain. So as you said, we are incubating and seed funding some of the blockchain projects and owning blockchain projects. So INBlockchain, as its name suggests, we just invest in the meaningful blockchain assets. And other than that, we just shy of those sort of things. So, and yeah, that's basically my whole background and my career and what are ended here before the INFLUXO. Yeah.
So let's go. How did you discover blockchain? Because let's say if you work in financial organizations, normally blockchain until recently was not very taken in consideration, and actually by especially big organizations was actually probably seen as a not so positive thing, let's put it that way. So can you tell us a bit about that background? How did you discover blockchain, crypto? How did you start getting in that, having, of course, a strong footprint? Of course, right now it's becoming mainstream, but I'd like to see how you get into this and how you discovered as well NFTs.
Yes, that's an interesting story. So the founder of the INBlockchain actually is a very big Chinese Bitcoin whale, and also a very great influencer in China. So I think since 2011, he wrote a blog about blockchain, wrote a blog about Bitcoin. So at that time, because I read his blogs and follow his blogs very intensively, so I got to know Bitcoin at that time. But of course, I didn't purchase it because at that time, I think I was just a student. So I knew nothing about the practical investment. So I certainly learned a lot of things about financial investment, portfolio theories, things from my universities, but I didn't really do that. But until 2015 and 2016, I think Bitcoin and crypto has a new bull run. At that moment, I think that kind of price action attracts me. That's the first thing. And second things, in 2014, actually in our university, so it's Frankfurt School of Finance, they already studied the blockchain center. So at that moment, I think at least in our school and also in our, maybe in German banks, get interested in blockchain. At that time, it's mostly about the hyperledger things or the union chain sort of things. So maybe they just don't think highly of Ethereum, of those public chain, but they already studied those sort of things. So end up with have a seminar with our professor, and then I ended up writing a thesis about the blockchain industry in China as my master's thesis. So that's how we kind of get there. Of course, my job and as a traditional young banker, they have nothing to do with blockchain. Yeah, it's just daily routine analyzing and the traditional financial markets and risk analysis, that sort of things. Yes.
So I'm particularly interested. So from this discovery of blockchain and your thesis, how did you start really trading and getting to this? And as well, how did you kind of jumped from the very conventional financial career, especially the names of Deutsche Börse and Deutsche Bank, to the crypto and the blockchain world?
How do I start? Because at that moment, maybe today, it's still China still dominates the crypto industry as the exchange things. So the Binance, Huobi, and OKEX, they're the dominating exchanges there. So actually, I traded that. I traded as on that exchanges. Also, I traded through the Bitstamp. I think at that moment, 2013 to 2016, and Bitstamp has also made some names in Europe. So I think it's very easy for me, especially to use the euros to deposit and withdraw and trading in Bitstamp. Yeah, and also at that moment before 2017, China didn't have any crackdown on the exchanges. So it's very easy and accessible for us to trade on those exchanges. Yeah.
Okay, so it was very practical solution as well. There's actually one thing people forget when you talk about crypto that is very practical to send money from a country to another. It's kind of especially for people like us that travel a lot. So I want to. So then, where did it come? Your entrepreneurial and then getting into INFLUXO and as well INBlockchain. So how did that start? And tell us a bit about what is INFLUXO and what is INBlockchain, but as well how that started your engagement with these two organizations.
Yes. So firstly, I'm working at INBlockchain. So and also I'm advising one of my portfolio companies. So he says BigONE, Big.one or BigONE.com is also a cryptocurrency exchange, and they are being approached by Ronaldinho. They are going to make an NFTs and they are going to have a proposal. So because a lot of people came to Ronaldinho and says, and we can have a new ideas about NFTs. So he asked me, how can I propose a proposal for Ronaldinho for his specialized NFT things? So it's kind of like we should bid for Ronaldinho's favor to how we can do that. So after our brainstorm and also conception, so we came up with the idea that we should make a new brand. So it's not only a marketplace. So at first, because we are going to make a marketplace, it's like OpenSea or something like that, for those kind of NFTs. I think that it's more than that. So it should be first a one-stop service for the celebrities, because Ronaldinho, he's going to be the partner of INFLUXO, and he wants to bring other resources, his friends into this platform. And those celebrities and those athletes and entertainment celebrity stars actually knew nothing about crypto, nothing about NFTs even. So we need to provide them a very professional one-stop service for them from the starter. So, for our INFLUXO Ronaldinho collection, actually we made everything for Ronaldinho. So from the start, from the creation of the NFT products, and also how could we decide the price, and how could we have the NFTs sell, and how can we make this serious, and also the intangible assets, and also the tangible real world experience. How can we bundle those sort of things? Those sort of things, we just present Ronaldinho, and of course, Ronaldinho give us a lot of precious advice. So then we end up in this one, the INFLUXO. So I just say that, and the things just happen, right?
So can you explain, because your platform is particularly quite unique in the way you are dealing with the stars, and in this case with Ronaldinho. So you mentioned that in one end he is a partner as well. And for instance, in looking at your research and the things you guys are doing, there's definitely a lot of different things that you do. So let's separate what's the goal of INFLUXO and what's the goal of the platform and the team of the investors, the INBlockchain.
The INBlockchain, of course, the main power technology partner of INFLUXO is BigONE. So they are the investors in this, the big investors in INFLUXO. So they are just, we say, investors and stakeholders of this platform. And INFLUXO, firstly, it's a creative studio. So it's facing the celebrities, providing NFT consultancies and services for them. And also it's a marketplace. A marketplace is facing the consumers, for the fans and for the crypto people. So it's to the consumer side. So those are two things, of course. And what separates that? First, in blockchain and BigONE, they are investors. And INFLUXO, it's a separate brand with its new vision, and also its own kind of ideas and implementation plans. Yeah.
And in terms of INBlockchains, because I checked the INBlockchain history, you guys created quite substantial than that you are involved in some of the most important benchmarks actually of the history of Bitcoin and the crypto from the first acquisition of 130,000.
Yeah, that's our founding partner. Yeah, that's our founder. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and as well, according to INBlockchain, you got as well invested in Steemit, Zcash.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that history, because it's quite the history of crypto as well.
Yes, the founding, the founder of the INBlockchain is Li Xiaolai. So he's the, as I said, the Chinese whale, and maybe he's the first real Chinese Bitcoin evangelist. So he wrote article about Bitcoin in 2011, and then he just kind of get into the industry. And as you mentioned, the Steemit, we are the first, and maybe the Steemit, and we are the I think the founding shareholder of that. I was not involved at that kind of deal. So we are I think the majority stakeholder of Steemit. And also before Steemit, I think Daniel Narumor, we have a very good relationship with him, the founder of EOS now, and he just stepped out. So we founded Daniel Narumor, the first project. I think it's a bit what kind of Avictis, I think bit Avictis, it's BitShares, right? So BitShares, and then Daniel Narumor moved to Steemit, so we also support Steemit. And then we just supported the EOS. The EOS, I think we are the largest angel investors in EOS, and also BigONE, our crypto exchange, also actually helped to launch, the main left launch of EOS in 2018 in June. So we kind of wholly support that. And also we, our exchanges, I think, we have a very, very broad experience about exchange building. So before 2017, before the Chinese type regulation on exchange, we have a crypto exchange called Yunbi, which is the top exchanges at that moment. But after that, of course, we kind of to submit to the Chinese regulators. So we just closed that, and then we moved our resources and also our expertise to the overseas. And then years later, we built BigONE, but that's another story. So Yunbi is a top traded volume exchange at that moment. And actually it is the first Chinese exchange to list Ethereum at that moment in 2015. And until the recently history of record, we are the stakeholders of PooIn. PooIn is one of the largest Bitcoin mining pool in China, right? Actually in the whole world, I think it's top 1 or top 2 nowadays. And also we are the earliest investor of MobileCoin. So maybe you have probably heard of a MobileCoin, which is the Signals and cryptocurrencies project. So we are also very honored to be involved with a MobileCoin project. Yes.
So just for me to understand right now, that the way you putting together all these different things, and as well, I would like to touch what are the main difference that you see right now making transactions between China and the rest of the world? And I think in the light of everything that has been happening in the Chinese world in terms of crypto, how are you guys coping with that? I would like to hear that, and then I want to come back to the NFT platform.
Okay, yeah. I think many people overseas would like to ask about things, the recent Chinese policies or the crackdown on the cryptos. So there are 2 things about the background of the Chinese policy. The first is the hype and the speculation around the cryptocurrencies exchange, right? So they have a lot of scams, and we call that the coins comes out of air. So the air coins, and also some of the futures, the high leverage futures, those sort of things, I think the Chinese government will certainly ban on them. So as you can see, many Chinese located exchanges are moving overseas to Hong Kong or to Singapore to find a compliance status in those sort of things. And also the second serious things about this Chinese policy is that Chinese is going to crack down on the Bitcoin mining industry, right? So because China has made a promise about the carbon emission and the Green Deal around 2050, I think. So they are going to have the zero emission. So Bitcoin mining, for the outsiders, it is a energy extensive industry. So China is going to have a more regulated policy and more clear policy under the government control to take an overview of the Bitcoin mining industry. So at that way, China should put a stop on those mining industry at first. And also in the last days, those many Bitcoin miners in China has guided themselves as a big data center or some technology, AI learning centers for such of things to get some tax advantages from the Chinese government. And those sort of things is, of course, are against the Chinese government's will. So those sort of things are also going to forbidden. And I think those two things, the mining industry, the Bitcoin mining industry, and also the high leverage crypto futures exchanges are going to have some different times in China, but they are going to moving overseas. So as you can see, the pull-in, as I mentioned, they are going to Texas and to have their new business. So they are going to have a new mining rigs and gigs and mining pools in Texas. And also, they are also, because China is a large country and also they have very broad expertise in international business, they have already extended their business overseas. And I think there has been a difficult times. I think in the end, they're going to survive it for the Chinese crypto space. And also the Chinese government will have a more reasonable and also a more holistic and comprehensive policies about the crypto industry. Yeah.
So I want to go back right now to how does, you touch a bit how INFLUXO works, but well, with around like 30 mainstream global marketplaces, INFLUXO is particularly different because, like you said, you guys are focused on being a studio and working with both organizations, but I see as well that you work as well at the likes of OpenSea and a lot of other platforms. So can you give us just a bit of an overview how INFLUXO is different from OpenSea, from Nifty Gateway, and as well how your business model works?
Yeah, so the huge differentiators from INFLUXO is that we are positioned to be first as a creative studio. So our goal, or to say broadly speaking, is to become the Hollywood in the NFT space. So we are not just a marketplace like OpenSea or Nifty Gateways. They just publish the minted NFTs and then publish to the crypto markets. So we are just kind of serve as a bridge between the organizations and celebrities and also the distributors, maybe the OpenSeas or maybe Amazon or PayPal, because they are going to announce their own NFT markets. So we are kind of like in the middleman of the things. One of our founding partners is Andrew Figure. He served as the vice president of Figure Group, which is a Brazilian soccer agency. So his vision is that because our business should be more of a technology company, but more like a licensing company, more like an agency company. So we kind of build a bridge between these two types of space and to smooth the transition from the real world into the crypto space. So that's how we position ourselves as an INFLUXO. And that's our main thing. So we're not just owning another marketplace like OpenSea or Nifty Gateway, but a whole package solution for NFT creation, issuance, distributions, sales, and maybe legal matters, taxations, and so on. Yeah.
Very interesting. And for instance, the approach that you do is, let's say, like in a studio, you mint the NFTs and you create the profiles for the artists that come to you or the celebrities, and then you distribute it through the major platforms like the likes of OpenSea and so forth. That's the way normally you work?
That's the way we are going to work. We also have our own marketplace, like the INFLUXO Ronaldinho Collection. It will be primarily on our marketplace at first, and then it will be distributed to other marketplaces to build more, to reach broader audience. So we rely, actually, our business model rely highly on the partnerships and licensing agreements. So we kind of like, we first go to the celebrities and organizations to talk and to ask them to grant us the license, the likenesses, the intellectual property for us, and then we can reach out to other artists and maybe our in-house artists to create those NFT products. So in terms of the Ronaldinho collection, Ronaldinho granted us he granted us the IP, the image rights, the likenesses rights of his NFTs, and then we search for artists to how can we take those IPs into the real products. So that's our working process. And then we will put those NFTs and into our own marketplaces. And of course, we are in talk with other big NFT marketplace like OpenSea and NFT Gateway and Binance NFTs, and to issue those NFTs. So INFLUXO, in this sort of value chain creation process, we are an issuer. So we are an issuer like the Paramount or like other filmmakers. So we are an issuer for those things. And then filmmakers, of course, they can have their own cinemas and the movie theaters. Of course, they can also distribute their products to the movie theaters around the whole world.
So coming back right now a bit broader into the industry, and I think I like the parallel between the studios of Hollywood and the digital part of the NFTs. So how do you want to differentiate INFLUXOs in terms of other studios that exist? Because of course, every studio, let's say if you look at the moment, if you make a parallel with the film industry, we have mostly Netflix as the biggest studio in the world, at least in terms of outreach, which is not a conventional film studio, because it started as a streaming company, but now produces more film than almost any studio in the world, with the exception probably of Bollywood, but Bollywood is a specific different market. So how do you see the parallel, and as how you see the growth of NFTs and the vision that we have in terms of the NFT industry, and as well in the other industries as well?
I think that NFT is still a new world, right? So as we say that now our niche focus is just the digital collectibles. So maybe we can extend our NFT practical areas into other spaces, like maybe one day, maybe some financial products or something like that. So our target audience are much broader than just like Netflix or something like that. So it's just entertainment for entertainment. Maybe one of the days our digital collectibles can be used as of financial products, and also maybe as a proven products or something like that. So that's one of the first things. And the second things is that in terms of our INFLUXO's NFT products. So nowadays, the most, I think nearly all of the NFT products are just digitalized. But from the start, our vision is that our NFT products should be serve as a bridge between the universe and the metaverse. It says, which means that it's not only just a digital unique token in the crypto world, but also it can represent something in the real world. So for the Ronaldinho INFLUXO collection, our Ronaldinho's NFTs not only represent a very beautifully crafted and high quality digital collectibles on the blockchain, but it also represent a real world experience, such as a meetup in Dubai, and also some of the complete card collectors can redeem a tangible Ronaldinho's autographed jersey. So that's the second biggest differentiator for our INFLUXO's NFT products. So it is that it's not only a a thing in the digital world, but also it's a token representing a tangible experience in the real world.
And I think in terms of your kind of at least short, medium, and long term, so you are starting with Ronaldinho. So can you tell us about the partnership with Ronaldinho? So if you go to the INFLUXO website, you can already see the information about the NFTs, which is some very cool illustrations and stuff like that. So can you tell us how it works specific for people that are interested to buy the Ronaldinho, how it works and so forth? Because it's in the website, but just a bit of this case study in particular.
Yes, sure. And the live auction and also the stock share for Ronaldinho's masterpieces and his unique Magic Sports Series cards are going to be announced, I think, at the end of this month. So maybe next month. So at the start of next month. So there will be 2 product lines from these specialized INFLUXO Ronaldinho auctions. So there will be first masterpieces, and the second is the Magic Sport Card Series. The masterpieces is a 7-1 kind of masterpieces NFTs, and they will be available for the auction. And the starting price a bit higher is 20K USDT. So people should pay in USDT, but of course we provide a very easy and convenient crypto credit card payment system for you to purchase the cryptos from the credit cards. But the unit of count is USDT. So they are going to bid for those masterpieces. So that's one of kind. And also another product line is the Magic Sports Series Magic cards. And those card editions of depicting Ronaldinho playing different kinds of sports. So not only just football, but also his favorite sports like esports, football-y or something like that. And those kind of cards and are designed by Ronaldinho himself. Of course, not manually, but his whole ideas and conceptions are really into those 6 kind of cards, and those cards are going to be on sale for $299 USDT.
At the moment, as we look at the inception and the growth of the NFTs, because we're talking about an industry that is less than 1 year old, I'm talking about like of course the NFTs were created before, but as an industry, we're talking around less than 1 year. So how do you see the growth as someone that right now is leading as well this route, and of course leading with a lot of ambition and as well with very strong investors and partners that come from the industry? So do you see this to become, because at the moment, if you look at the biggest sales of NFTs so far, it's been in sports collectives, number 1, and number 2, actually a lot of things related with sports in general. So collectives and sports. So do you see this becoming like, and of course, for instance, if you look at Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the things he said is that, I will quote him, collecting magnets, trading cards, or exchanging banter over sports have all served as social currency. But could non-fungible tokens, NFTs, do the same for digital items? This will be bigger revenue for sports teams than TV rights. So you mentioned the studio metaphor. I would like to go through this quote with you, but as well, how you're looking at this, and as well, purely from a data perspective for people listening to us. So far, for instance, in June, OpenSea, which is the biggest NFT marketplace in the world, sold around $150 million. I don't have the numbers for July, but should be more or less the same. And if you look in terms of, as I mentioned, the sports and collected NFTs are the most popular, followed by art, although the art has been doing more noise. But definitely collectives is, I think, 3 times bigger than the art number of sales. And sports is still 2 times, almost 3 times bigger than arts. And then it comes arts with 3rd place, utility in 4th, games in 5, which is more or less the same as utility, and in 6, metaverse, which is AR, VR, and kind of different worlds. So can you tell us a bit about how do you see this ecosystem and these numbers?
Yes, I think that sports and digital collectibles are certainly a very great entry point for the current market condition for the NFT market. Of course, sports and gaming and speculations, they are some kind of, they are naturally kind of related. So if the people says that, okay, nowadays the sports collectibles and the sports collectibles are just dominating the market. And I think that's totally makes sense. And that's why we are breaking the NFT space at first as a to be an officially licensed sports licensor for the NFT market. I think that makes totally sense. And of course, and sports stars, athletes, sports match, and all those sort of things, they can build a natural elements for the gamification and also for the speculation for the market. I think it's very good. And also, of course, it can help to promote the growth of this market. At the later times, I think that NFT will become more broadly speaking, because at the end, the NFT is more than just crypto art or sports or digital collectibles. It can be a way of tokenizing everything. So as I said, that it can be used as a financial products in the real estate markets, and also maybe in the fans economics. So I think in this sense, I think sports certainly opens a door, an easy door, and to bring NFTs into the mainstream medium. But later on, as this market becomes mature, it will become more and more interesting and more innovative in this market, not only for the financial markets and also for those athletes and stars themselves. They are going to have a more new ways in terms of how they can utilize NFTs and how they can implement those NFT tokens in their career and also in their interaction with their fans.
That is a very good point, and I think we are only in the beginning of this. So I think we're reaching our time, but I still want to touch one or two things related with the way you want to create the ecosystem. So normally the strength, as you said, of any business, and you coming from financial industry, you know better than anyone else, is how you bridge the ecosystem between the NFT world and the real world of the solutions, like you mentioned, from making bridges of tokenizing assets, creating certifications for anything from companies to anything else. So from your experience in finance and experience right now in blockchain and crypto, what do you think are the challenges that the industry still needs to go to make it more environmental and sustainable, but as well more, I would say, I think empower the industry? Because of course at the moment we still have very small people that understand how to do an NFT, and although there's a huge hype, which is one of the biggest ones probably that we saw since the ICO boom, or even bigger, because now it brings much bigger personalities. And at the end of the day, when you buy an NFT, we actually are buying something physical. It's not the same as buying a token or stuff like that. So what would be this kind of the biggest challenge that you see when it comes to the NFT industry and general related topics?
Yeah, I think what of the biggest challenges the NFT are facing now is also maybe the biggest challenges the crypto industry are facing right now, is how we can deal with the regulators and how we can to experience and to tackle those challenges as we going into the mainstreams. So as we said, that the NFT industry is somewhat different from the normal tokenizing listing crypto industry. So it has to work with the real people, and those people are completely strange to the crypto world. So you have to talk to them, and those kind of issues ranges from the legal issues and also the financial issues, taxation issues, all those sort of issues, and those are the real things. The crypto people always like to think that if we can make a token and then everything will be solved. That's not true, because crypto world is, of course, is a blooming industry and it's a growing world, but we still live in the real world. And our goal is to blurring these boundaries between the two worlds, and we have to go to the real world and talk and tackle those concrete questions and solve those concrete questions. In terms of NFTs for the digital collectibles, officially licensed NFTs for Ronaldinho, how can you tackle his image rights? And how can you say we have a meetups in Dubai? How can we arrange those sort of things? those sort of things cannot be solved by blockchain. Of course, blockchain provides a good platform for that because people nowadays most of their lives are spent in the digital world. So blockchain kind of provide this infrastructure for that. But how can we bring those real experiences in the real world into the digital world? Blockchain is not only the solution of that. What we need more is also our old experiences and our old lessons from those sort of things. So I think that's really important and very big challenges we're going to face right now. So it's how can we bring our ideas, our innovations, and our thought-provoking experiences from the crypto world to the real mainstream world. I think Dinis and you and your teams are doing a wonderful job of that. I saw the NFT introduction short videos before I went into the interview. I think it's very comprehensive and holistic. I think it's very thought-provoking, and it can provide a good educational material for that. And for INFLUXO, our goal is also to build a bridge between these two worlds. For the mainstream world, maybe they just adore the soccer games, adores one of those athletes, and also the athletes are looking forward to a new area of business. And of course, at the other side, the crypto fans, they are thinking that tokenization of everything is the future, and how can we bring these two worlds together and in the end into the one world. I think that's our mission for the INFLUXO, and that's the challenge we're going to overcome, and I think in the end we can certainly make it.
Thank you so much, and I think this is really important, and that's kind of my goal as well, is about through education. I think we can actually create a lot of things, but like you said, there's a huge amount of work to do, and it's quite interesting. You are having this call on the 10th of August for people listening to us in the future. And what is interesting is that the US, yesterday was quite interesting. There was a big discussion about crypto in the US Senate. And what is interesting is, according to the numbers, only 5 senators understand crypto. I'm not talking NFTs, I'm talking crypto. So we have a long way to go. And if this happens in the biggest economy in the world, and as well even in China, as you mentioned, there's a lot of challenges because, of course, the challenge right now is how to put the centralized and non-centralized systems working together. And as this goes and grows, of course, the NFTs don't really have any kind of big regulatory issue because they are effectively digital certificates. Like you have already a lot of digital certificates. They just are done in a technology that can be better scaled. So, well, I wish you all the best for INFLUXOs. I don't know, just for people listening to us, because you still have, you're quite a young platform. Can you tell us where we can find INFLUXO? Well, of course, we're going to put all these links, but I think it's always good to listen from you. And as well, I don't know if you want to highlight, besides Ronaldinho and people that want to buy Ronaldinho, where to do it, and eventually other things coming, if you can announce some of them.
Yes, so INFLUXO, people can find INFLUXO and all the related Ronaldinho's collection auction informations at influxo.com. It's INFLUXO.com. So actually, the INFLUXO is a Portuguese name. So it's kind of like the same. I think, Dinis, you speak, of course, naturally perfectly Portuguese. So it has the same origin of influence. So we kind of like to bring the influencers to the crypto world, into the crypto world. That's one of our ambition. And of course, for INFLUXO as a creative studio, we're going to roll up a lot of pipelines, not only from Ronaldinho himself, but also his very close friends. But I cannot tell you more about that. Maybe some of the athletes and also some entertainment stars. But of course, stay tuned. And also, we're going to have several offline events around the world. Like in Singapore, we're going to have a Ronaldinho's INFLUXO collection and printed in real and in the digital iPad or something like that, to have a very good curated exhibition at Art Now in Singapore. I think it will take place in 2 weeks, I think, and let's wait and see. In terms of the lockdown, there are some limitations here, but we're going to do some offline events in Singapore and also in Korea and Japan and some days. So please stay tuned. And I think we are just at the beginning.
Congratulations, and I'm looking forward. So we'll put all the links to INFLUXO, and I think it's really like fantastic, of course, that you have one of the biggest football players in history actually engaged. And it's interesting that you are not only just that he is as well part of the platform, so that makes you a much more contextualized, and as well as quite an international team, because we have from Brazil to China to Hong Kong and a lot of different things, which makes the project much solid and much more powerful. So congratulations. I'm looking forward to listening from you guys. And I'm sure that you're going to be probably talking in the near future about your new developments. I'm looking forward to see the next ones. And I think for everyone listening to us, definitely go to the website and search and look. And we put all the links here in this interview, both on YouTube and or for people listening in podcasts can find as well in our platform, citiesabc.com and openbusinesscouncil.org. Thank you so much, Daniel. A pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Likewise.